But first, I'm John Bachman. The Pentagon is now isolating U.S. soldiers returning from the Ebola mission in West Africa. Today, military leaders say those soldiers will be screened before allowed to enter the United States and then monitored for 3 weeks. About a dozen are being monitored right now at a base in Italy. The CDC is expected to roll out new guidelines today as well for healthcare workers coming back from West Africa. But the Obama administration says they are just guidelines.
State and local officials have broad authority to impose quarantine policies in their own states and localities. So the role for the CDC is to marshal scientific evidence.
In New Jersey, nurse Casey Hitchcock has just been released from an isolation unit at a Newark hospital. She had returned from treating Ebola patients in West Africa, but she was threatening to sue because she said the conditions of her quarantine were inhumane.
Our preference always is to have people quarantine in their homes. Now, in this instance, it wasn't possible because given her condition at the time and the fact that CDC and New Jersey agreed she needed to be tested.
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie on the campaign trail in Florida with Rick Scott today defending his decision on this quarantine. He backed off his position a bit, though, at first saying the mandatory in-hospital quarantines were the best way to keep the people of New Jersey safe. In New York, Mayor Bill de Blasio is urging people to focus on facts and not rumors about Ebola and those who treat it, especially as healthcare workers continue to treat a local doctor with the disease at New York's Bellevue Hospital.
The only way that there would even be a cause for concern is if one of them were to have any symptoms. To date, none have.
Dr. Craig Spencer remains in serious condition. Over the weekend, his symptoms did seem to get a little bit worse, according to some reports, but doctors say that was somewhat expected. The other 3 people who had contact with Spencer in New York are still being monitored. That includes Spencer's fiancée. The United States and Great Britain handing over control of 2 major military bases to the Afghan military. This event formally ends NATO's mission in the still dangerous Helmand province. About 34,000 coalition troops are currently in Afghanistan, but President Obama has promised to cut that number in half by early next year. The Obama administration's handling of foreign policy is just one of the issues hurting Democrats at the polls. GOP candidates in a few key swing states are pulling ahead with just 8 days before the midterms. A new Marist NBC News poll shows Republicans with a slight lead in Arkansas, Colorado, and Iowa, but Senate races are still very tight in places like Alaska, Louisiana, and North Carolina. Republicans do need to pick up at least 6 seats to become the majority. And plans in Canada to enact tough new laws preventing another terror attack may have already hit a political snag. Parliament is expected to table debate on those laws that would give the nation's security agencies more authority. Opposition has mounted quickly over the impact on civil liberties. This, as the head of the Mounted Police and the Assistant Director of Canada's Security Intelligence Service answered Parliament's questions earlier today. Another update for you in 30 minutes. Now back to the Steve Malzberg Show live from New York.